right, we want to really just appreciate everybody that's watching us today, and this is a great opportunity for anyone that might be watching. This is what is called live episode, and live episode is just about what we face, what we confront in our life as an individual or as a person, as a people, and episodes of our life, issues of our life, and we're looking at it not from a defeat mentality. We're looking at it from overcoming mentality. I can tell you, everybody has issues. Everybody has problems. Everybody has, if you're in this world, there is a problem. There is one issue or the other that you just have to overcome, and it's not just even us, even trees, even the weather, even the animal kingdom, they have issues, and the victory always belongs to those who can fight. So I have one of those people here today. It's new to some, but it's also named to some other people. It's Shomari Love. Shomari Love, we are very glad to have you on a live episode. Shomari Love is an American-born actor. He's an artist, and he's a percussionist. Notable credits include TV, film, The Kai Showtime, Black Lightning, CW, The Inheritance, TDP. Shomari has also earned a Bachelor's of Arts degree from Seton Hall University. Shomari has trained as the Anthony Anderson Acting Conservatory. And, it's just alongside other actors like China McLean, Nafisa Williams, Jason Michelle, Jacob Latimore, and Tiffany Boom. Shomari, you just in there, man. So much you've been through. And what's the secret of your emerging, and I don't want to say your stardom because I know you're going places, but this is great. What's the secret behind your emerging stardom? Because we have a lot of people that will be watching that they think they are not like no star can come out of them.
Right.
They've reached their max. There's nothing about their life because of what they've been through. Shomari, please come in here.
So the first thing, thank you for having me. And the point that you just mentioned, it starts from within. So the person that believes that they might have reached their max, or that there isn't something ahead for them, there isn't a new height to reach, the first thing I would suggest, and the first thing that I did with myself, is to remind myself that there always is more. And having the intrinsic motivation, when you can believe in yourself first, when you can see that next step, when you can have a vision board and put your plans and your aspirations on that board and be able to really cultivate that next step, it has to come from within first. You have to believe in yourself first. Then you're able to manifest those things.
Wow. Talk about some of your background as a child growing up in terms of visions and dream and the pursuit of that vision, and I want to also talk about some of the things that really help you, like a fertilizer, that help your seed, your dream. Some people, for them, it's like, nobody's there for me. I'm white, I'm Black, I'm African, I don't have money, I can't go to school, I'm dummy, I don't understand. Do you have some challenges around your life that really portray difficulty, and like from your birth? Please, you want to share that, please?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like many people, they may not be strange to this situation, but I grew up in New York City. So I grew up in Queens, New York City, and I didn't grow up from in a wealthy family. So, we had struggles at times, and there's times that my parents, my mother, my grandmother had to make sacrifices, in order to make sure that my siblings and I were well fed and that we had clothes and we were well kept for school. There's times that I recall that my mother and I went through certain struggles that most children didn't have to go through. But certain circumstances, it puts you in a position where you either or succumb to the circumstances or you persevere. So in a situation where you might not know, you know, what that next day looks like for you, or what that next week looks like for you, where it may be more difficult to focus on school and, you know, your academics. Just being able to persevere through some of these challenges and, you know,
Wow.
environment around me.
Wow, beautiful. Now, being an actor and an artist, is that more of a talent, or it's more of your calling, or your drive? You know, like, this is what I want
Question.
to be, or something just came up from somewhere and you just change.
Good question. Good question. I think it's actually a combination of what you mentioned, because I had originally started working in the corporate space. So I
Wow,
graduated with my bachelor's and I got into the corporate world, and I was doing okay for myself, but I felt as if there were talents that were not being put to use. And from a child, I always had talents. I believe I always had talents. I always had a personality, essentially, but I wasn't putting it to use. So when I made the decision to pursue something that was totally unknown, something that everyone around me, even my loved ones, essentially, you know, didn't really, um, they weren't really familiar with. So therefore, they couldn't see the trajectory for it. So it was a matter of combining the talent or skill that I thought I had with the ability and desire to want to succeed at something that no one thought I could, and then slowly getting these victories, essentially.
wow,
Um, and with a combination of other things, right? Because like with any career, you know, there are going to be obstacles. There's the beginning, middle, and then there's a point when you reach your I guess
that's true.
your peak, right? When I started off with acting in this industry, I knew nothing about the industry at all. I had literally made a decision that I wanted to do something, that I would put my mind to it, and I wouldn't allow anything to stop me. And with the talent that I thought I had, it had to be cultured, it had to be manifested and groomed, and you know that started in a journey in itself.
And amazing. Now, apart from your mom and your grandmom, who are the people that you can look up to and say these are the people that really encourage you, or even some of the mentor, or like you're looking up to? And in addition to that, what are the discouraging factors, things that discourage you, like along the path, that maybe you will have given up on the dream, or you'll have given up on your passion? Those two things, please. Can you just say that?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, my grandfather. Um, he's been one of my biggest role models. He's
Wow.
originally from Freetown, Sierra Leone,
Wow.
and he came here and studied like a lot of people do, and he made something of himself. And from a small boy, I would spend days out of the week with him, and I'd have to study. And it's funny that life kind of works full circle, because he's an attorney by profession, and from a child, he would have us like practice our speech and our rhetoric, diction, and things like that. And you don't, as a child, you don't think that's really important. And only now, later on, as I'm doing my career, I learned, even through my training with Anthony Abison and at the conservatory, you learn how important speech is, how important being an orator is in what we do. So he's one of the people, definitely my grandfather. And then from work and from people I've had the opportunity to meet and learn from my firsthand, I definitely have to say the late Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, when I had
Great
the
guy.
opportunity to sorry,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Wow, great guy. Great guy. Yeah.
when I had the opportunity to work on Black Panther, I was there for about 2 or 3 weeks, and just day in and day out, you would see the level of passion and commitment that he put towards the craft. And I was able to not only learn from him, but to be inspired by his love for the craft. And it's almost contagious, because
Wow.
when you're at a point when you don't know what
Wow.
the next step is, essentially, it inspires you to push further.
Wow.
And then later, learning of circumstances, you know that anything is possible. Anything.
Wow. Well, regarding Chadman, were you aware of his challenges while he was doing all those things?
I was not.
That he had that
I was not. He didn't.
wow,
He showed no signs of this, and he
wow,
always see a smile on his face.
oh my goodness, oh my goodness, wow. Well, what do you want to say to somebody right now that it doesn't have to be in being an actor or whatever? How can people have their dream come to pass? What do you want to say? You are the one they're looking up to right now. I mean, like, okay, I want to thank God for Shomari, and if Shomari made it, I can make it. What do you want to tell them? Because everybody look at the success part, the good part, the actor part, the money part, the popularity part, the fame part,
Mm-hmm.
but they might not be aware of the discipline part, of the input, of the challenges. What do you want to tell them? Is there a combination of the two, or
Yes,
is just
of
going to
course.
be like, okay, I have a dream, I'm going to get it done?
No, 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 no. That the way you stated that was excellent because there's the times when it will be rough.
Mm,
I'm as you mentioned, I'm still growing, but I'm grateful enough. I know God has put me in a position where I am able to learn from experiences and then give back by sharing my experiences in a way. It won't be easy. Don't expect it to be easy. Embrace being uncomfortable. Embrace the moments when you're not sure if you're gonna make it, and use those moments to remind yourself that you can do anything and that you have to persevere because you're not doing it for yourself. You do it for the individual who may not believe that they can do it. And you got to work hard. You have to put in hard work. You have to be dedicated. You have to continue to push yourself, be in your own corner and be the one who advocates for yourself the most because at the end of the day, it's your dream, right?
yeah,
And if you choose to live a life based on someone else's dream or based on what someone else wants to achieve,
yeah.
at the end of the day, you will be unsatisfied.
Wow.
So you will have the challenges. You will continue to have the challenges, but
Come on.
as you embrace each challenge, you will become stronger. You will become wiser. Use the challenges, use the setbacks to push you further.
Mm,
People will tell you to quit.
mm,
There will be a voice in the back of your own mind that will
mm,
tell you to quit.
mm,
Don't quit.
mm.
Don't quit.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Can you tell us briefly about your vision for the future?
Yeah.
Knowing the fact that, man, the horizon is clear. You have a bright vision. Opportunities are ahead. What are your vision for the next decade or maybe the next 5 years?
Yeah.
And how are you pursuing that vision systematically, one at a time?
Right. So the ideal next 5-10 years is for me to be actively working on a television show and maybe even 3 or 4 really big movies
Mm,
with some of my favorite actors and actresses that I've looked up to growing up. That's like anyone's dream. But for me specifically, this becomes more attainable when I continue to work on my craft, uh, to put myself in position with my team to have these opportunities, continually audition for projects and, meeting individuals involved with the projects so they can see me in a different light, to see my talent essentially. And, ideally to be involved in these projects, even more projects, be blessed with more projects, and eventually one day to direct something and create my own content essentially. And then one thing that I try to keep up with is that as I grow, I always try to give back in a way. So uplift as I'm growing, lift as I'm climbing.
yeah.
So for me, that would mean, every single accomplishment, finding a way to be involved with the community and doing some community service in a way, because I don't believe that you have to be at the very top to help someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, that timeline for me is growing in my career, being a series regular on a television show, for example, and while doing that, continually to grow, to give back, whether it's doing things in my immediate community or in a neighboring community, however you have it, but in that capacity, that's the vision.
Do you believe you can beat the record of Tyler Perry one of these days? Because I believe very strongly that, you might not be him, but you have a potential to be greater than him. And really, real people, we want a generation that
Right.
we do better than them, not even equal to them. So you think you can, because that's a very good one.
I mean,
I mean, and
yeah,
not just him alone. We got a lot of people, a
yeah.
lot of people. You think you can beat this record?
I mean that'd be that's an aspiration, man. That's a very
Man, I
high
love that.
standard that he set a very high standard,
Yeah,
and it's because of people like him why people like myself continue to aspire as well, because his story is amazing as well. But he did it, so
yeah.
because he did it, I'm sure that I can also. It just is going to require a
Wonderful.
lot of hard work, even
I
more.
love that. I love that. Okay, now let's talk about emotional life. I don't just want us to talk about our love life or talk about just profession. What's going on? Are you married? You single? Or you dating? Or you have children? Or and I just want you to say something about that so that somebody would know that you're not just okay straight shot. Just about these. There are also other responsibilities and stuff that you have to deal with, or maybe that's even not your concern right now. Let's hear from
Right,
you.
right. So I am single. Um,
I think for saying that, you've attracted a lot of.
I am single. My
Oh my.
my focus is definitely on my career right now. I would love to continue to grow to get to a place where I'm then able to, enjoy myself and give back and grow my own
Beautiful,
family, etc. Yeah, but I'm
beautiful,
definitely single at this point.
beautiful. Shomari, you mentioned something about Sierra Leone, and you might not have been there in Africa, but you know your roots, and
Yeah.
the majority of our brothers and sisters also they wish they can do that, and they maybe they have to really try and discover who they are. So what are you doing? Do you have any plan? Or do you have any film? Do you have any aspirations, something like that? Major event that going to really center on the continent of Africa in terms of development, entrepreneurship, encouragement, raising up a next generation business people, talent people. Is
Right.
there anything in your dream like that for Africa, for Sierra Leone, for Cameroon, for Nigeria, wherever it is?
Right. I think definitely at some point down the line, when I'm able to um, pull all the resources together, I'd love to continue to collaborate with individuals. I have colleagues that are West African from background as well, some that were even born there, and I think that it'd be a great idea, being in a space where you're able to give back. And like, what does the entertainment space look like? I know in Nigeria it's growing. The Nollywood
Yeah.
space is really growing, but there are more people from this side contributing and helping to facilitate whatever talents are in that space. I think is amazing. So yeah, one day I would definitely love to formulate a plan to actually
Wow.
help in any way I can.
That would be great. And also, I'm getting ready to round up right now, but I want us to talk a couple of things. Um, in the area of your, music, I see that you're a percussionist here. So
Right.
how do you come about that, and how do you combine that? Are we looking at you, in the future becoming a singer, R&B, pop singer, whatever it is, so, can you just comment on that?
Yeah, that's actually goes back to from early childhood. I played the African drums, the djembe
Beautiful. Wow.
first, and then later on the marching snare. The drums is something that I had practiced as well when I was with my grandfather, and the the ability to play that from a young age is what I ended up using that helped me along the way with working with Black Panther. So I was able to actually play the drums there, and I've always had like a musical talent essentially. Um, Down the line, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll write some music or I don't know, collaborate with somebody. It's one of those things like when
That
it's
would be
really
great.
it's like your first love. I guess you always go back in a way, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, now two more questions. Now, what is your biggest regret? like, maybe it helps you to grow, to know things more, and to develop yourself, to sharpen yourself, because a lot of people don't know how to interpret regrets and negative. They see it as something that bring them down, while others see it as a learning point, a source of learning. And what's your greatest achievement? Like, you're giving kudos to yourself, say, man, I got this, I made it. Those two things, can you just shed some light on that?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, amazing two-part question. So yes, I don't really like to dwell on the regrets, but it's a part of life, right? There's things that we wish that we hadn't done or that we would have done. For me, I'd say I wish I just would have started earlier.
Wow.
I wish it's like what I know now, but everything happens for a reason, right? You learn what you learn when you do. But hey, like if I started 5 years prior, I don't know. I can only imagine where I would have been. The reason being, leading to your second question, is my biggest accomplishment. When I started professionally acting, within a year, I think about a calendar year of professionally acting, I was able to obtain my eligibility to become a member of the Screen Actors Guild. So essentially, I got my SAG card within a year of saying that I'm going to do this as a professional. So for me, that was a huge accomplishment, because some of my colleagues and contemporaries, they have stories, and for some people that was a 2-3 year process. Some people it was a 5 year process. Some people it was longer. But for me to be able to do that in a year, that was one of my biggest accomplishments. So it naturally leads me to wonder, hey, if I had started earlier, where would I be now?
Right? Wow. And finally, Shomari, and I want you to really be down to heart with these. Why do you have to invest so much in a corporate world? As a graduate, I mean, this is a real great profession, and then you just shift to being an actor. Does that have to do with money, or like, man, I'm gonna make it here, whatever it is? I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, that's a real good thing. And in addition to that, what about the risk? If nothing ever happened, please, can you share? Because a lot of people, maybe they're in the wrong place, and there's an opportunity for them, and the fear factor, like you said, I would have started earlier. And they are there. Who's going to pay my insurance? Going to pay my bills? Going to do this? Going to do that? And they just wasted, and the dream just get knocked out. So, but for you, you just tell me: is it you're sure, or the risk, or you like, okay, one thing, I'm gonna put this on side, and I need the money out there, wherever it is. So, or you made enough money, so you can now leave.
Yeah. So wow, that's a great question. That's kind of like how my story began in the professional space for this. I was making, like I said, I was doing okay for my age at the time. I was doing okay. I was working in the tech space. And it's funny because now I'm thinking back, I had no idea. I had no idea what the risk really was. I knew that my family wouldn't be happy about it. Right? I knew that that's not something that they originally wanted me to be an attorney.
Wow.
So I wasn't doing that, but at least I was doing something that I was working as a professional. I had no idea. It was a complete 180. I had to literally start from, there were times when my very first jobs, I lost money. I lost money in pursuit of them.
Wow.
Having to work as like a background extra, where I couldn't find work as a background extra in New York City. So I had to travel to different markets within the States to find those jobs, and I lost money. So it's not about the money. It's not about the money, because as you mentioned before, people see people as, these celebrity actors and, in these films, and you think, oh, these people are millionaires. Everyone does not start like that. That's not how it begins. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable, as I mentioned, right? To essentially make nothing, because you're investing in yourself. It's an investment, right? So you have to be willing to make the necessary sacrifices to put yourself in the position to eventually earn, to eventually become a professional, to eventually be able to do it, so that you can make a living for yourself, essentially.
Wow, this is beautiful. Wow,
Yeah.
It's been wonderful to have you on this show. I just wanted to chip this in. Do you see us? Are you favored? Like, or you smart? Which one? Okay, I'm smart. I got this thing by myself. I got the brains. Or I'm favored. Maybe, if you're religious, I'm a Christian, or I'm a whatever it is, God help me, or whoever help me. What do you want to say to that? Are you favored or you smart?
It's a combination. It's a combination. I think God has definitely been there, and God obviously had a plan, right? And no matter what your plan is, I think God has a plan. But I grew up in the church, right? So I remember one thing my grandmother always taught me is faith without works is dead. It's dead. So you can have the plan, you can believe, but you have to grind, you have to hustle, you have to put in the hard work. So it's a combination of the two for me.
Thank you so very much. So it's not about God is going to do it, and it's not about I got it, I don't need God. So you put God in perspective, you put your talent and your hard work in perspective, you merge the two together, like your grandmother said, faith without works, and here we are. And I'll tell you something, the sky is not a limit for you, especially even after this show. We're going to be hearing you, and just thanking God for you and also praying for you.
Thank you.
Because you're bringing us pride, and we're very grateful. And we're hoping that some mistakes that others made, that God is going to keep you. You're not going to make that mistake, and you're going to really, start from where a lot of people stop. I don't think that you can beat Tyler Perry's record. You're there, to beat his record, so that some people watching you, can also say, okay, I'm gonna beat your record.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, please. So that you can be, just go higher and higher. There will be difficulties in the way you already told us. As a matter of fact, from the magazine info, we read that perseverance is a unique motivator for you, fueled by doubt, pain, struggle, and sacrifice. You're determined to learn as much as you could about the business and become a professional actor. And and so much that we've heard about you. So thank you so much, Shomari, and for your patience, for your passion. And I can tell you, this broadcast, anyone that'll be hearing us, they'll be inspired. This is much more than you want to give somebody some money, whatever. They will spend the money, they'll finish the money. But with this passion, intrinsic, determination that I can do it, especially in places where people don't have all the benefits, all the amenities, stuff that we have here, in the United States, them believing and putting that work, and also knowing that every disappointment, every no, every discouragement is also what we need to go forward. I used to say that if I have to do something 7 times, and and I fail the first time, second time, third time, fourth, fifth, all those failure is getting me closer to my success, because that's almost about 5 minus 5. I have 2 more opportunity, and now 6, and the 7th one, I'm going to click it hard. And so, Shomari, thank you so very much for being there. And we're looking out for your movies and shows and music and everything, and just wishing you good, and praying that everything is just going to go well, and God is going to be with you, and just continue to shield you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.